It's an economy show right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info. So, I want to introduce the. He's still, he's still the present British High Commissioner to Nigeria. So, I just realized that I've been saying outgoing a lot, and he's here. He's still around. So, good morning. Welcome to the studio, City of Lagos, Paul Arkwright, and he's basically in the studio to talk to us about some of the great stuff that has happened in his tenure here in Nigeria, some of the fantastic things he's noticed about Nigeria. So let's start about, anyway, Weather is still with us in the studio. So I'm just in case he has any questions for Paul. So let's start with, I think the best place to just start is Nigeria between when you came into Nigeria and now. I know that we've become a lot more social media savvy now, but what are other things you've noticed about Nigeria, the space, the economy, the people between this time?
Well, thanks. It's great to be on the show, and good morning, City of Lagos. Yes, I've been here 3 years.
I've infected him with City of Lagos.
City of Lagos. I got that message. I got that message.
Yes.
I got that message. No, it's great. I've had a wonderful 3 years, and you're right. I am outgoing, but I am still here, and I'm still working hard. I didn't really know Nigeria when I came here. It was a new place to me. I'd never served in Nigeria. I'd never served in Africa before, so it was an eye-opening, mind-expanding experience.
Yeah.
And I just found it the most amazing country, the most diverse country. I've traveled in 30 of the states here. I've been in every geopolitical region.
Wow.
I spent a lot of time in Lagos. I'm based in Abuja, but Abuja's really boring, so I like to come to. But I like to come to Lagos because that's where this is the what is it? The bubbling place.
Yeah, the bubbling place.
The bubbling place. And so it's great. And one of the reasons why I come to Lagos is for the business side of it. And this is a business program. So just to focus a little bit on what we've been doing over the past 3 years on the business front, trade is increasing. We've gone up from £3.7 billion a year to £4.2 billion a year. That's good, but it should be better. And so what we're looking to do is double that trade figure by 2030. My Prime Minister was here very recently.
Which, of course, was what I was going to ask next, especially because, she launched the new FMDQ OTC office, helped them in doing that. So, obviously, she came looking at trade and because all her activities were trade focused. And the two questions I wanted to ask is, first of all, did she... in her own expectations, were her expectations for the trip met? Because on this side, we've not gotten much of in terms of feedback. All we heard was slight talk about supporting Nigeria in terms of insurgency and trying to combat that menace. But in terms of trade, I'm not sure we've heard a lot. So were our expectations met, and what do we expect going forward?
Okay, well, I think expectations were met. She came here with a bunch of CEOs, with investors, to look at the opportunities here. She launched, as you say, the FNDQ. She launched various financing offers. So, for example, our UK Export Finance Department, our agency that deals with export finance, there's a £750 million offer out there. She noted that CDC, which is the UK's development investment arm, has a portfolio of over $350 million here in Nigeria, but we're looking to increase that enormously. So CDC are looking for investment opportunities. They're going to establish an office here in Lagos. We talked about, obviously, company-to-company, business-to-business relations. Some of those relationships we hope will bear fruit with new contracts. We talked about bringing in more British businesses to invest in Nigeria, to create jobs in Nigeria. It's one of the biggest challenges, I think, for Nigeria, young Nigerians.
Yeah,
right?
Trying to get a lot of investment.
2 million young Nigerians coming onto the job market every year, and that's increasing. So how are you going to find jobs for them? And we have a role, foreign direct investment, as it's called, as you know. FDI has a role in that. So a lot of my job in the past 3 years has been about encouraging people to look at the opportunities in the market here, to bring expertise, to expand their businesses if they're here already. So, you know, we've got some big British businesses here, Guinness,
Yeah.
Unilever, Shell,
Yeah.
Diageo, you know, all these guys.
I'm sure you guys didn't know that, right? You know, especially names like Diageo, you kind of think, oh, it sounds Italian. Nah.
It's very British.
It's
Let me
very
tell you, it's
British.
very British. So, but it's not just about the well-established companies, you know, the British Airways and the Unilevers and so on. It's about encouraging more people to come into the market. And so that's, you know, that was one of the key messages of her trip. It was a short visit to Nigeria, but I think it went very well.
So going forward, we're expecting at least some of this investment to start to materialize and turn into solid structures on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So this is about foreign direct investment as opposed to portfolio investment. I mean,
Which
obviously
it
comes and goes, but I mean that's also a very important part, and there's
True.
a lot of British interest in the portfolio market. But yeah, it's about solid investment on the ground. It's about creating jobs on the ground. We're looking at agriculture, we're looking at transport, we're looking at infrastructure, we're looking at mining and other areas where, as Wede was saying earlier, the diversification of the economy is just so important. And we want to be engaged and involved and active in creating jobs in all of those areas.
So definitely there's been a lot of talk about expanding the British-Nigeria relations, especially as concerns trade. And I mean, it's not totally, I mean, you can't divorce it from your mind totally around the issues of Brexit itself. And the first question is, Brexit is a done and done deal, right? We're going ahead with it.
Well, we're going ahead with it, yeah. So we leave the European Union in March next year, which is not very far away. It's not quite a done deal, so the negotiations are continuing,
yeah.
but they're going well. And I'm confident, the government is confident that we can get a good deal through negotiation with our partners in the European Union. That deal then needs to go to the British Parliament, so there's going to be a vote in the British Parliament around whatever deal is produced. But there's no doubt that the UK will be leaving the EU. There will be a transition period, so it won't be abrupt. You know, it's going to take some time, even beyond the formal exit. And I do think that gives great opportunities for Nigeria. You know,
exactly,
one
which is where I'm going to.
Aha, sorry. I'm eating your sandwiches as we speak.
You know, he's doing it. He's preempted every single question because, you know, you have to, when you look at the Brexit and you realize that if there's going to need to be trade partners to take up the existing relationships that might be strained or be finding its new discussion or its new arrangement within the European space. But what opportunities, I mean, do you think are readily there for a country like Nigeria to pick up if we've not seen it already?
I think it's especially around trade, right? Yeah. Trade and investment. So, you know, whereas before we were within a block of 27, they all had to agree on trade deals and so on. When the UK is outside the European Union, then we can set up our own trade deals, our bilateral trade deals. We can look at how we can lower tariffs, how we can improve business. So there was quite a lot of discussion when the Prime Minister was here, and I do it all the time as well, about, you know, I went to see the Trade Minister only 2 days ago in Abuja, talking about ways in which we can improve those trade ties, we can reduce barriers to trade. And do that through not just the sort of government-to-government areas, and we've set up
which of course works.
Well, it's important when we set up what we call an economic development forum, which is an agreement that was signed when the Prime Minister was here. That gives the kind of framework for those discussions, but then you've got to implement it and you've got to get some practical steps on the ground. So we're looking forward to that increase in trade. We're looking forward to opportunities to talk more about how we can trade. And it's a fact, if you talk to any development economists, they would say for a country to really take off, to really prosper, the key single most important thing is competitive exports, right?
Naturally.
So Nigeria needs competitive exports.
There
is a big internal market here, right?
Yeah,
but
massive.
But that's not enough.
It's not enough.
You've got to trade.
It's not enough. I was going to ask what were the responses of the trade minister to the discussions? Is it positive? Are we?
Yeah, he's very positive. He's
Yeah.
very positive. He absolutely gets it. He wants to do his bit to help, including on improving the business environment, which you touched on earlier when you talked about the bond issue. You know, that's also really important to give investors the confidence the confidence to come in
and put their investment in Nigeria.
Put their money in.
Speaking of confidence, what are the sentiments? Foreign investors. We're talking about more foreign direct investment,
right?
But there might be some negative sentiments that British investors may have. So just to give us an idea of
so it's like what do you think might be the negative sentiment so that we can work on it?
Well, we already know the obvious negative sentiments, but like what challenges in particular have you faced, or do you think the government should try to work on to make
low hanging fruit
to make FDIs?
Yeah, I think there are a number of areas, and I think the government through PEBEC has made some improvements in that. The visa on arrival system, which is good. Although, frankly, in London, getting a visa for anybody is a very time consuming and extremely expensive process. So streamlining that kind of thing is one reason. I think there's a general climate. Perceptions are perceptions, but they're important, right? They may be wrong, but if people have a perception, then that's going to affect their level of confidence. And it's been difficult for Nigeria to shake off the corruption, the negative perceptions around corruption. I think progress has definitely been made on that. So we're definitely seeing improvements on the sort of corruption side. But on the other hand, there are some negative signals as well, and some of the recent events around. EFCC, around some of the fines and so on.
Issue,
well, that has been mentioned to me by a lot of investors,
because
and that is worrying people. We're talking, the signal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not challenging whether this is. I'm not challenging whether this is right.
Or wrong. But it gives some concern.
Exactly,
yeah. So if wrongdoing has happened, then it needs to be pursued. Absolutely right. That's the rule of law. That applies in the UK just as much as it applies in Nigeria. But it's around the signalling, it's about how it's done, about the messaging that it sends. And
exactly how it's done. It's really important.
And so that kind of signalling and that perception, at the moment, actually, Tunja, you touched on the Eurobond thing, what is this, are they going to, well, let's see, let's hope that
let's hope they do it.
Buy into that.
Because I generally believe that the Eurobonds will still be taken. It's Nigeria. You can't exactly ignore it, but it's the premium on that they will place on
especially with the current high interest rate environment.
It's totally. Markets. So, City of Lagos. Paul mentioned PEBEC. For those who do not know what PEBEC is the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Trying to catch all the acronyms so that we can explain them to you, City of Lagos.
I got too Nigerian, right? I keep using these acronyms.
Yes. It's very Nigerian to use those things. So let's go into your tenure. What could you say are the landmarks that you've been able to achieve in your time in Nigeria in terms of we did this, we were able to do that, we made this happen, we made that happen, so that we can put some perspective to that.
I think Nigeria is on the map already. Okay, everyone knows about Nigeria. We have a lot of Nigerians in the UK, and we have a lot of people. Well, mostly for the good things, right?
Mostly for the good things.
I am a huge supporter of
those guys. I don't know
Nigerians
them. They are not Nigerian.
No, I know so many Nigerians. The good guys who are contributing so much. There are seven MPs in the British Parliament of Nigerian descent. That's just one thing. There's the actors. There's John Boyega. There's the footballers. There's Alex Iwobi and people like that. I was having a drink with his uncle JJ Okoche yesterday. So all those really, really positive things are a huge thing, and I think we should celebrate that. We should be proud.
Celebrate the process.
We should be proud of Nigerians and British Nigerians who are contributing so much to society in the UK and here in Nigeria. So that's kind of one aspect which has been a constant throughout my time here. I think some of the other highlights are like traveling around, seeing the diversity of the country. I've been to the northeast, I've been to Maiduguri, to Borno, I've been to Kano, I've been to Kaduna, I've been to Sokoto, I've been all over the south.
You've done a lot more traveling than I have in my own country.
And that's a wonderful thing, because I am High Commissioner to Nigeria, not to Abuja, not to Lagos.
Sure.
I come down here a lot, obviously, but it's so the diversity of your country is something that really struck me. And then there's the opportunity and the potential and entrepreneurial spirit and the young people who want to get stuff done.
And that Nigerian youth.
Yeah. And Nigerian youth are finding their voice. I think. Let's see what happens in the elections in 2019. But if Nigerian youth are not content with the current situation, well, they have a voice, they have a vote.
And I think we've improved a lot from where we used to be in terms of participation in election issues. So, and I think this is a global discussion about young people really, being more active in channeling or directing the country's future. But yes, we're seeing more and more people getting there. There was a massive drive for people to get PVCs in Nigeria. Yes,
I was part of that. I sort of supported that. And
Nigeria is on the way to positives. So now I think this is the biggest question I am going to ask. Which of the Nigerian meals has been your best so far?
Well,
and you must understand now. I need to.
Tunja is really tough.
I need to
There's
calm
so
you
many
down
choices.
on this. I need to calm you down on this because this is going to split listeners across the world, viewers from everywhere. So people are going because every meal is special to people. Because
I'm going to offend somebody, right?
Yeah. So I need you to know that. It's like saying who's your best superhero. There's always going to be something like, oh, you did not say Superman. That kind of a thing. So, yeah. Okay, so take it
Deep
and
breath.
let's know. Yeah.
Well, am I allowed to say jollof rice?
Okay. Okay, that's the safe.
Okay.
That's the safe answer, right?
Is that the
yeah,
safe
that's
answer?
the safe answer.
Yeah, jollof
Ghanaian
rice.
jollof?
Well, I have, and I can tell you, Nigerian jollof is a lot better than Ghanaian jollof.
So you see,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
That's
he's saying all the right things.
That's a
isn't he?
definite one. Yay!
That is,
that's cool.
See, he
yeah.
got everything.
So I got
right.
that one right.
Yeah,
okay.
you got everything right.
But jollof rice with dodo.
Oh my God!
It's just fantastic.
Okay, since you're in Lagos,
jollof rice and dodo.
We officially
wonderful.
We officially
Wonderful.
indict him. He's now officially a Nigerian.
Okay, thank you.
So you
I'm
might
honored.
not need to go.
I'm honored. And then if I can also have one more, it would be suya.
Oh, he's
Suya, pepper suya. It's wonderful.
You prepped him on all of this, did you?
No,
'Cause
she does not.
he's like, this is the perfect. I'm like, oh
That's
my God.
That's my ideal meal.
Jeez.
That's my ideal meal.
Okay, yeah, he got it right. All right, so before you leave, it's important that because my focus is usually around trade and Nigerian. So I don't know if you've heard about and this I'm asking because you've had preview to a continental agreement and you've been able to see how those kind of things work. If you could comment, and this is me stretching now. There is an Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement which Nigeria is looking to sign, might not sign, could sign, still thinking about signing. I think time is almost running out for us to be a part of that bloc, and if we do not get in, some people have said it would cripple Nigerian businesses. Some people have said it's important for us to be part of that bloc. You probably heard the discussions. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, what I hear is that Nigeria intends to sign it. This is a question of consultation. It's a question of talking to some of the people who are interested, the labour groups, the MAN, and other types such as that. So I'm encouraged by that because I think Nigeria must be part of any Pan-African free trade agreement. And that's really important because trade between African countries is incredibly low.
It's
really
ridiculously low.
Really low.
You almost think that countries in Africa on another continent if you look at the trade numbers.
So this could really add billions to the economy of Nigeria if you're trading freely between countries in Africa. So I'm encouraged by what I hear. I also heard Alhaji Aliko Dangote say in London that he was also in support of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, which I think is an important announcement that he made.
Of course.
In London.
If he supports it, then we might be doing it.
I couldn't possibly comment on that, but that's also a good sign. So I think it's going to happen, but I think it's really, really beneficial and very, very important that barriers between African countries come down, and that there should be some much improved free trade between those countries.
Okay, so hopefully, you come back to Nigeria visiting another number of years, let's say 5 years from now, what would you expect to see Nigeria different from what we've? I mean, we've started to take some steps in the right direction. What would you like to see that's a constant in Nigeria in 5 years' time?
I think I'd like to see a sort of genuine diversification of the economy. I think I'd like to see agriculture really taking off. I think I'd like to see the power issue resolved. So, you know, again, when I talk to investors, the power issue is one of those things that is always there. So getting the regulatory framework right, getting the tariffs right, getting the infrastructure in place, all of that is something which is incredibly important to business and therefore to creating jobs. So, you know, if we can see that, and I think there are positive steps that we can point to, but if we can see that in the next 5 years and see those genuine improvements on the ground, then I think we can see Nigerian youth with a more optimistic outlook, should we say? You know, Nigerian youth who can genuinely see the future, and it's a future that I genuinely think is bright. It's a future which you know, I'd like to think the UK is contributing to, and in a very small way, personally, I have over the last 3 years, because I believe very much in Nigeria, and Nigeria gets under your skin, as they say.
Yeah.
After 3 years here, I'm a kind of honorary Nigerian.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
You have, in fact, you know. Let's just dub you a Nigerian now.
Wow, I'm honoured. I've been to see the Queen, but I'm really honoured.
The jollof rice, the dodo, the suya answer is just spot on, because that is Nigerian in any way. No matter where you are, from north, south, east, west, it just cuts across. It's that you cannot argue with it. Suya, everybody loves the suya. They love it in different ways, but we all love the suya. Yeah, you see, everybody agrees in the studio. All right, I want to thank Paul Arkwright for being with us in the studio. British High Commissioner to Nigeria, soon to be outgoing, and we're honored to have him in the studio before he leaves. So, City of Lagos, if you did not catch the entire interview, we're pushing it up, the interview up on social media platforms. Also, you can follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @Paul T. Arkwright. That's Paul T. ARKWRIGHT, right?
That's right. Great. Looking forward to more followers. I shall be interested in your comments.
Yes. So let's hear some of your thoughts about things happening in Nigeria, and you know, some of the things he's done. If you look at his timeline, it's actually very full in terms of things that his activity in Nigeria and some of the things he's been trying to. You know, he's very engaging. And very engaged. So follow him on Twitter. I want to also thank Weda for being with us in the studio and staying with us to the end. Thank you. Weda Eda is from AfriInvest, and she's been with us in the studio also. City of Lagos, now we're going up. Tomorrow is Friday. We want to close on a high note, and so please be with us. We'll be talking about some issues happening on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I'll be having some guests from there too to speak about the innovation happening on that part of the market and letting you know how it's happening. City of Lagos, you know that, okay, let me not let the cat out of the bag. Tomorrow we'll let you know what Policy Wednesday is going to be like. But City of Lagos, thanking all my guests. Look at your timepiece. It's 9:57 on a Thursday morning. Do go out and be profitable.
So business and economy news can be confusing. Markets going up, indices going down, prices going round and round. But what does it mean for your income? Your income. Join me, Tunji Andrews, on the Money, Business and Economy Show. Because with every government policy or business decision, someone is making money. I honestly believe that person can be you.
Money, business, and economy matters. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mondays to Fridays on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
We are the talk. We are the talk station of the nation. 99.3 Nigeria Info.